I'm Ryan Green. Welcome, everybody. And super stoked to talk to you today about commerce, customer journeys. And if you hadn't had a moment, please go ahead and let's fill out this poll here. We're going to do a word tree where this is going to build out. And I'm purposely not showing you the results because I don't want you to see the answer. So if you have something, what do you think about when you think of commerce? Each individual word. Go ahead, submit it. Each individual one. I'm crossing my fingers that the poll everywhere is working. So go ahead. First thing that comes to mind, commerce to you, not to your company, but to you. You know, think about it as a piece of art. What does commerce mean to you? So go ahead and do that. So first I want to welcome everybody here. So this is my audience. So I've actually been tracking you guys for the last several weeks. And I got to say that the interest in this topic has really blown me away. So first of all, I'm super thankful for your time. And everybody here has a different view on commerce and customer journeys. And it's very important to understand the nuances of your own issues and everything that you face here. So let's go ahead and take a look at, and hopefully the screen flickering will stop going here. And I'm going to cross my fingers here that this is actually going to populate, and if it doesn't, we're going to move on and power through this anyways. Simplicity. Exchange. Okay, they're coming in. All right, now we got something. What is commerce to you? Enter 3 separate submissions. What is commerce to you? Let's see what the audience, what are you guys thinking? Let's collectively put this in here. This is actually starting to cool. Money. Wow, everybody's money here, greedy. All right. Exchange, selling, buying, transactions. This is cool. Really interesting. Value. Cool. And if you want to submit a couple more, go ahead. Well, let's just kind of transaction popping up here. All right. If you like one, let's go ahead and if you want to upvote something, let's see how this can exchange, how this can move, how this can morph. Cool. Buying, money, transactions. Wow. This is really cool. Thank you. All right. So this is what commerce is to you. Interesting. So what I want to talk about today is, there's a Steve Jobs quote that I love, and a lot of people are, has quotes in PowerPoint decks. I love this one. You got to start with the customer experience and work backward toward technology, not the other way. And you think about technology and just everything that we've gone through. I think as Adobe, we've gone through some changes here. If you think about our own journey, right? We have to think about our customer, and we've had our own issues along the way, right, and challenges. Think about box software, how we had to reinvent that, and taking that leap of faith. I remember that day when things switched over. Can we get the screen flickering to stop a little bit? It's really annoying. But anyways, we had to reinvent ourselves here, and also Flash, right? We're actually getting rid of Flash. Everybody here, Flash. We're actually getting rid of it. But we needed to deliver a better experience to our customers, and we know that we can do more. But is good enough good enough? Is good enough good enough, right? We have the experience. Is good enough good enough? Oh, it's good. We got the experience, and it's good enough. Is good enough good enough? We think a lot about those experiences. So as we go through and talk about these different experiences, you got to ask yourself, is good enough good enough? And we can constantly be pushing ourselves more and more. And as we go through this, I wanted to share 9 quick stories of my commerce experiences and my journeys. And thank you for sharing your thoughts and opinions of what commerce is to you. I wanted to share some quick examples of mine, and we're going to power through these really quick. Some great examples, some fun examples, some awkward, some creepy, and some everything in between. So let's go ahead and get started. So Amazon, this is something I was just shopping one day. All of a sudden I get a pop-up notification from Amazon Business. Hey, Ryan, we noticed you and that you purchased office products in the past. Upgrade free Amazon Business accounts to save business-only pricing. How did they get that? Oh, they were looking at everything that I've been buying. Hey, we got a B2B business. Let's spin it up. You got to think about that. Think about the implications of how they're looking at me as a customer, thought that was really interesting. I work with a lot of great B2B customers, and I think about, how they're, come sell on our platform, and then they kind of use a tactic like this against you. But I thought they did a very good job of understanding me as a customer, me as a buyer, the context, and surfacing this to me. I think that they could do even more, a fake, savings report, maybe invite me to the warehouse, become a B2B lead. And as you have the poll up, go ahead. I'm curious of this audience, are we Amazon Prime lovers, or are we pushed back on Amazon? Which one are you? So if the poll is working, hopefully, and be honest, if you have an Amazon Prime account, yes. Or if you're using someone else's account, that also counts as a yes. And if this doesn't apply to you and you're a different part of the country, just don't make a submission here. I'm curious, what percentage of this audience is Amazon here? 85. Wow, that's more than the average, right? Wow, 85%. All right, any more votes here? Whew. Oh, it's getting worse. Ah. Okay. All right, I'm curious. All right, interesting. Good to know. So you're going to have more and more of these experiences as you see Amazon. This is a great example. Uber humanizes my experience. This example is a year old. It's real. And I've actually faked the driver information here just for privacy. But I thought this was so cool. And I would triple down on a business all day long for the humans and the connections that you can have. I think technology is great, but when you can bridge the gap and bring humans together, it's more important. I take 1,000 different Uber rides all the time, just like you. Get in the car, but this one was different. I got a notification: your driver is deaf or hard of hearing. Wow! I just thought, how amazing is that? They're connecting me to the driver in a whole new way. I thought that was just incredible. How can you connect your customers together with your frontline staff? What's different ways that you can connect humans together? I think this is amazing. I think we think about technology and how it's going to replace jobs and everything else. I think if you use technology to connect humans, you'll win. I think this is really, really cool. Some additional things they can do, local event, danger, and adjust my speed. I think you could always do more. I think these experiences are great, but there's some additional things you can do. This one's going to get weird, right? All right, this one's called data crunching data, and this is a real example as well. Everything has been taken out of here. We get a lot of push notifications on your phone, and some of them are very just awful. And when you get these push notifications, you're like, oh gosh, why did I get this? Why did I just waste time? I got a push notification here from Hinge when I was on it, and I'm from Binghamton, so I get this notification. 19 people from Binghamton, where I'm from, where I grew up, joined Hinge in New York City, where I live now. You're 75% more likely to connect with hometowners. Oh my gosh. It was kind of creepy, but really kind of interesting along the way. I mean, think about how they're personalizing that experience, and they're crunching that information. They're contextually understanding me as a customer, and they're delivering a personalized message. I thought that's great. Sign up for our newsletter, 10% off. Ugh. Like this one actually had a little bit of meaning. It was a little personal to me and kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I thought it was very cool, and it gave me some value. Another great one is Chase. I think, that's where all my money is, right? And everything is sitting there, and I have my rewards, and now my rewards is basically turning into kind of a mall, and I can spend all my money, and I just think about, where I'm spending my money and through what platforms and the different ways I can engage. This one was interesting because there was an Amazon, link up your Amazon account here, and I didn't, and I actually forgot about it, so I linked up my account, so my rewards is there, and then I was going to buy something the other day because I'm moving this weekend, and I go to buy some packing tape, and all of a sudden I go to the checkout, and I get this here, and you can see that Amazon points, they linked over, so my Chase Rewards points synced over super easy. I forgot I even set it up, so I went through, was going to do the checkout, and then it said like, hey, you got $126, you want to use it? Wow, that was really cool, very interesting. But then I thought about the math of, wait a second, I get $1 for $1. And I only know that because I'm scrutinize this. So basically Amazon is taking 20 cents of that dollar. So I'm actually supposed to have $158 there, but they don't do the math for me. They kind of just slide it in there. But they made it super easy for me to spend those points. I got to give them a little credit, but I'm a little smarter than them, right? I'm not going to give them that business. But that was very interesting. And they could do even more hyper-local, pricing terms. Sometimes we make it too easy for them, make it way too easy for them. This is a real example. This is also faked. So what you're going to see here is real, but the brand is actually faked. And I was buying a piece of furniture for my sister for her birthday party, and this is what I saw. So the outdoor patio furniture, and if you look at it, $683. Okay, currently unavailable. Ah, darn. Shipping, not available. Oh yeah, not sold in stores. Oh, is this a gift? Oh yeah, it's a gift from my sister. Oh, please note this item ships in its original packaging and cannot be gift wrapped or concealed. What? Wow, what a big miss. What a big miss in every single way. There's so many different ways that this could be solved, and a lot of people are doing this now, right? A lot of people email me when it's available in inventory, right? Why can't I just pay for it now? You don't want my money? Please? Can you take my money? Don't you want my business? So there's a lot of just low-hanging fruit, right? There's a lot of different things that we can do. So all these experiences that you have as a customer, I think that there's a lot of potential here. So this is probably my worst commerce experience. It's got to be. But sometimes we just make it too easy for Amazon. Facebook gets into marketplaces. I just think about how much time I've spent on Facebook, how much they know about me, and the conversations, the things I buy, the ads I click on, and then all of a sudden I walk into their store for the first time in the marketplaces, and these are products that they actually showed me. This is the first time I walked in your store. Really? You know so much about me, and you want me to free car? Everything's free. Car parts, 4-person hot tub, the plants. The cute plants needs a home. I mean, Saddlebrook, New Jersey. Barely used makeup. I mean, I probably could use some more mascara and get rid of the bags underneath my eyes. But what a big miss here. Gosh, I just think there's just so much more. So, having all this great information about a customer and not delivering a great experience is such a failure, and people know it. You know the experience. What a big miss here. You could hyper-targeted, cost-effective. I want to learn more about my neighbors, maybe making something locally. Gosh, they could have done so much more. What a big miss. This one is also real. Taking out some money. I live in the East Village of New York. Just going to ATM, taking out, $100. Hey, $3 fee. Okay, yes, I'll take it. And then all of a sudden, I get this interstitial. And this is a re-rendering of it. So your withdrawal is processing. While you're waiting, give a gift card or pay wireless. What? This is basically a ATM pop-up ad for gift cards. What? Wow, what a big miss. There's a lot of amazing businesses all around there. They could do some hyper-local targeting, just the context of that environment. Get a free Coke at this burger joint over here. They could have done something a little bit more. So I think of these experiences that we're creating, we could do so much more. I thought this one was a big miss, but it's also a good potential. That landscape of that environment. What if a retailer paid for that fee to have them come in for a Coke or something unique and something different, right? We got to think a little bit out of the box of some new touch points that we want to go after. All right, this one's really, really deep. So this is connecting online and offline dating. This one's weird. So basically, you go on a website, right? You do some research, then you go to the store, make a purchase, and then they try to tie the revenue back, an attribution model, right? So dating apps, right? When you're on the dating app and having a conversation, and then when you need to go offline to actually do the date, right? Well, there's a disconnect. Well, how do these dating apps figure out the attribution model? Okay, and this one's also faked for identity reasons. So I get a pop-up notification after I had a date with Jen. A couple days later, I get this. Learning your type. Did you meet Jen? You won't be notified of mutual interest feedback. Okay, and don't ask about my dates. Whoa, that was really creepy. You know how they did that? I'm almost positive they did it this way. We had a phone exchange in the app where we exchanged numbers and agreed on a meet date, and then I got this a couple days later. Wow. I was a little creeped out, about. I mean, obviously they have opt-outs, but they're trying to solve, they're trying to solve their game, right? Just like an attribution model, it's just a different type of attribution model. But I thought it was different, right? There's all these different ways that you need to connect to the offline customer, and there's a lot of unique ways to do it. So just fun, interesting one here. And then the last one, we'll power through this one, ad blockers, right? I was going to Ad Week. I love all their content here. And I have my ad blocker. I go to the website and it says, you work in advertising, but you block ads. So they're basically calling me out, which I thought was I actually appreciated it. As a marketer, I thought it was like super unique. I actually ended up subscribing just for that reason. But one thing that's very just odd about this, right, is advertising professionals, what sources have influenced your recent purchase? This is for North America, for media professionals, so people in media. What influences them? Friends, search, social media. What's dead last? Banner ads. Oh, so I got to turn off my ad blocker so when I go to the website so I can get some ads. Okay, all right. Right? I think the ad ecosystem could do so much better. I think a lot of, we're relying on these channels that have been around for a long time. We could do so much more. I think we're running through the days and pushing too hard on channels that are not exactly, powerful. So people buy experiences, and when you think about people, we're always on, always connected, multiple devices. We all know that, tying them across. We thrive on experiences. We're spending more of our wallet on experience-based things than rather just kind of stuff. We're agnostic to channel. You don't really care where it is. You just want it to be easy. You're elusive to loyalty. We're actually, 86% of you are actually paying for your loyalty. All the other ones are probably free and you're signing up for. So your Amazon Prime one is actually paid, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. So consumer time is money and opportunity. Roughly about, your attention span. There's all these different types of studies that go into this, right? It's about 8 seconds, and some of the funny ones talk about how goldfish is about 9 seconds. So, they have more of attention span than us as humans, right? 8 seconds. Gosh, that's not long. That's not 8 seconds. That's our new window. All right. Well, let's do something here. Let's have a small experiment. Let's feel 8 seconds. Ready? Go. Oh my gosh, that was painful. Oh God, was it ever going to be over? Geez, Ryan, that was painful. That's your new window, right? That's what we got to deal with. So you got 8 seconds, probably about 4. And they're going to leave your website. Your website's too slow, your app's too slow. Obsess over this stuff. Literally obsess over it. We're looking at conversion report. Hey, are we seeing an increase in traffic and a bounce rate? Like, obsess over these little friction points because as a consumer, you're going to leave. And the other thing that's really interesting is we're at a kind of an inflection point over time of where you're spending your time and your attention. That time is shifting to different channels. We can see here that it's shifting away from television over into mobile devices. So, where is the majority of your time and attention going, and how are you following them as a consumer here? Because the consumer is moving, and you need to be moving with them and staying ahead of them along those moves. So, yeah, mobile's here, mobile's coming. Yep. Got it. It's gonna beat TV this year. It's time and attention. Got it. So mobile is crushing it, but it's kind of at a point where it's peaking out, right? You can see we're starting to get to single digits here. So we're kind of maxing out. So what's kind of the next channels that you're going for? Because on mobile, as far as the top apps here, if you're not the top 5 app, you're basically kind of non-existent because your time and attention is only focused on those apps. But overall, there's some good numbers that we're seeing in terms of session growth. We're looking at, where are people's time and attention, right? Look at some of the shopping channels. That's excellent. People are spending more time. Is the conversion rate following? But if we look at some of the other channels, music, entertainment, business, finance, utilities, people are spending more time. This is sessions, not conversion. They're spending more time on these segments here. So, and we think about voice. Everybody, voice is next channel, voice is next channel. What is voice actually really doing? And if we think about voice, a lot of this is really just kind of assisting. So this is Adobe Digital Index. Highly recommend everybody, CMO. You can sign up for all their, CMO.com, sign up for all their insights here. Most of this is really just assisting. So if I was to ask your brand for assist with just assistance, how would you respond? I think some of the responses are kind of just they're just not quite there yet. And Amazon's still trying to figure it out, and probably trying to circumvent a lot of the brands that that we work with today. And then everything else is kind of, some of the smaller ones are kind of more conversion based, but a lot of it is really kind of assisting. So, if I was to assist your brand, what would that look like? So I'm just going to power through this one. Physical stores, we see the numbers are going down. This is from the Mary Meeker report. Very excellent report here. The advertising side on Amazon here, you see all the revenue models that they have. You hear all the time about the advertising ecosystem that they have and how rich it is. And basically, you're selling on their platform and you're advertising on their platform for your products on their platform. I mean, it's just like, it's basically just a money tree for them. So I just thought that was kind of interesting of how they're playing that there. And then as far as, they're going into different categories, as we know. And the one thing I want to show here is some different patents and different things that are kind of scrapes of what they're doing. Multi-level unmanned aerial vehicles, so they're kind of this little beehive thing that they're working on here. They have a railborne with some drones flying out. The other one I kind of liked is the airborne one. It's kind of like a blimp. I think they're probably going to have it over just different events to give different stuff. I don't know, kind of weird, but interesting. Underground, underwater. Like they're thinking really out of the box. How are you thinking out of the box for that customer experience and delivering your commerce promise? So a lot of interesting things. So in terms of experiences matter more than ever. So let's get into the customer journey here. So why a customer journey here? Many of you probably have a customer journey, different iterations of the journey here. So I kind of built this and construct this because the audience is very wide, right? B2C, B2B, we got utility companies, a lot of manufacturers. So kind of went through and tried to build this kind of agnostically to give you kind of a good blueprint of what you would need. So why do we have the customer journey? Puts more focus on the customer, right? We should be focusing on the customer. We'll go more into what that means. Puts more importance on the data and the context. I think that's something we're definitely going to be talking more about. And it also puts more focus on friction points that we're seeing. So as you start to think about these experiences and take a couple different steps back, what does that look like? So first, let's start with the customer. We're not going to spend a lot of time here on customer because you know your customer better than I do, but obsess over them, go through all the details, have all the personas, have everything broken out. There's some amazing studies that I'm not going to go into here, but what I do want to start to talk a little bit more about is the context of the customer, right? How do you think about the context of your customer? All the different information you have across different systems. If we were to take a couple steps back and look at what do we know about Sarah, let's start there. Let's start with the customer, the goals, what she wants, her personas, then move backwards to, okay, what's the information that we have about her that's the most valuable that we can use for her that's going to deliver value? So the profile and the context is ultra important. So kind of just abstracted this here. You have multiple different identity types. The Open Data Initiative I'm super pumped about, and trying to solve these problems that you're dealing with. I love the open nature of the ODI and just the way that we're going about it and not making this a closed box system because I really don't think that's the answer. Those systems are going to hit those limitations. And then last but not least is the experience and the touch point. And we're going to go really into depth on a lot of the different touch points here. So starting with that customer and then moving backwards into the experience. So let's go ahead and take a look at a customer journey here. So if you look at the customer journey here, it's very familiar to everybody. And let's go ahead and jump in. So we have Sarah, right? And we're going to go across a customer journey for her and all the potential touch points that she can hit. So let's go ahead and start with Sarah. She's looking to make some purchases for some yoga equipment here. So if we just kind of just take that fictitious story here, the awareness phase. Sarah has a need. What are the different touch points that we can meet her at? So what I kind of wanted to do here is break this apart. There can be a lot of advertising channels, but also some awareness channels you can reach out. So there's a need or a want item. So this is the different channels that you need to possibly be meeting her at the right time, at the right moment, with the right information. So let's talk about some friction. We've got some friction here. Knowing ads with no context, unaware of product services, rating reviews. Can't find the product shown. I click on some ads and I see the product, and then I go to the landing page and I can't find the product from the ad. I'm like, God, wow, you actually see. Has that happened to anybody? Have you actually clicked on something and you actually want to buy the product in the ad and you can't? What a failure. A lot of friction there, right? Don't do that. Go through the experience and scrutinize every little nuance of that. Unaware of your product or service, right? Sometimes you don't even know you have a problem, something to be solved. I bought one of those has anybody seen those ads for those little bag things that you fill up and you roll up and you can sit in it? I didn't know that I needed that, but I bought it and I needed it. So sometimes you can find some creative ways. And as far as some tips for this portion of the customer journey here, spend the ad dollars like a mutual fund. I know that sounds pretty just simple, but I feel like everybody's really just pushing on the simple channels, all the major ones. Find the long tail, the little tiny channels that you can really meet your customer. I know it's not a lot of volume, but really think about pushing your internal teams, your agencies. Make sure that you're exploring those different touch points. I kind of miss those media days that I was at, and trying to figure out what are the new touch points that I can meet my customer at. So reduce the email overload. We know it, right? Way too many emails. I had a couple of more examples I was going to show before, but you can highly reduce this. Sometimes I think you have multiple different email systems that you need to make sure that are talking to each other, because sometimes it's duplicate information. Just reduce the email overload. And then think about the best context to meet the customer. I think the social channels do a pretty good job of that, of understanding where I am socially and just the different areas I'm at. And I think those are some of the ones that are actually pretty on the creative side. And fix any site functionality before you're spending a bunch of money on ads. Just like if you can't do a basic cart of handling one transaction or making it easy, spend all the dollars there first. Don't give it to Google or Amazon. Just get the foundations right. And I know that we need advertising to grow the business, but reduce a lot of the friction that you have. So now let's move to the next phase here. So the discovery phase. How can I address my need? Think about all the different touch points that we have here for Sarah. We love when Sarah comes directly to our website. That's the best channel, right? She knows about us. She trusts Luma. So she goes direct. More than likely, she's probably going to start on search or our other favorite, Amazon here, looking for that product. That's where the majority of the searches start for the product. But there's some other great places like marketplaces. How can you extend selling your product to other channels that are managed, like Amazon and eBay and others? So think about those marketplaces as well. We talked about voice, also television as well. I love the acquisition of TubeMogul. I have my old media days here, but I think it's great of just think about when I watch regular television, I see some of the ads I see, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, you can see some of the more curation of kind of the more digitally targeted ads. I think it's a step in the right direction. Some of the friction at this step, store versus online availability. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand kind of what brands are offering at different areas. Unclear value of the actual product itself, and kind of diving into that more. Lack of assortment, not mobile optimized. Sometimes if I'm on your website and I go to turn it, and then all of a sudden it doesn't allow me to turn, just like something simple like that. Sometimes we're missing just literally simple things like that. Or my favorite is when you ask me for my phone number or my zip code, you give me a full keyboard. I'm like, okay, then I gotta switch it over. Folks like, I see Delta does a great job. Anytime they ask for your number, keypad, every time. But different hotel brands, when you get to hotel Wi-Fi, what's your room number? And then all of a sudden you gotta switch over keypad. These little tiny things are just friction points. You don't need it, right? Think about your experiences and what you could do there. So think past search and mobile, and we talked a little bit about a voice and marketplaces. Think about extending your products and services and experiences to these other touch points, right? And obviously be mindful of what the experience is going to be on that marketplace. Should you probably be selling your goods and services on the Facebook marketplaces? Right? There's other marketplaces that you can sell everything on. Understand the context of the traffic channel. So as I'm coming into your website, all the different channels, or just different traffic types from non-digital, as I'm coming in, how can you marry that experience? And centrally look at the content and the material that you're creating. Sometimes it's very hard to kind of see holistically what's the messaging that you're having. So I think it's important to take several steps back and actually take a deeper look at that. So let's take a look at the next phase here, shop. So the shop phase is getting deeper. So what is the right product for Sarah? So she has everything at her disposal of what she needs to help curate that down, right? We don't want to give Sarah a lot of options, right? We want to know Sarah, curate them down. So I know there's a lot of basic things here. Site search, that can be visual or keyword based, right? I think there's a lot of great. Our research team is doing some really cool stuff on visual search that you'll start to see come out. Recs, okay, got it. Frequently asked questions, filter. All this stuff is pretty, you get it. But the layout of it and understanding the customer and what filter to put when and all the little nuances of the design, if you're not understanding the context of that customer, that's a big miss here. But so in terms of some friction that we see on this process here, poor lacking images, I think some of the rich media, videos, how to use, there's a lot of just missing material. Sometimes the store offers are very difficult to kind of match up. And also the visual search and sort and filter is not always easy. You can you're kind of going through that experience and you can kind of really feel it. And you can't touch and feel the product from a digital perspective. So some tips along the way. So find ways to minimize those decisions that you have to have the customer make, right? If there's different ways that you can creatively come up with it, I wish to, ask for my zip code, then fill in the city and state. Well, why do I have to fill in those 2 extra form fields, right? Can't you triangulate that and just minimize that? So any little step that you can remove, be creative about it. And if you're asking for information that you're not going to be using, don't, right? Really scrutinize the back-end team. What are you going to do with it, right? We need to be putting an ROI on the data that we're using, not always just the money that we're spending. Okay, let's talk about the purchase phase here. So the purchase phase can split into obviously different areas, and obviously this one is very B2C focused, and I know that everybody here is completely different businesses. So, but the top portion is store, and then down is digital. So she has the option to do what she would like. So making that purchase can happen several different ways here. But let's talk about some of the friction that she has across these touch points along that customer journey. And no buy online, pick up in store, no buy online, return in store, simple functionality like that. It's great to hear a lot of just different brands that are incorporating some of this functionality and seeing great returns, right? And if you're not doing that now, then push your business to do it and come up with different ways. And even if you're not a B2C or B2B company, what are different ways that you can deliver your goods or services, even if it's a subscription or in different entitlements and such. So. And in terms of some other tips here for the purchase phase, make the checkout crazy easy. Why are we still talking about this? Why are we still talking about checkout? And for each region, give them all the options they need. No exceptions, right? No, don't just favor the US and Europe to give them all the payment options that they want, right? Focus in on delivering that experience across all the different customers. So this is when I'm giving you my money, right? Don't you want my money? Yes. So make it crazy easy for them and really scrutinize the steps that you go through. Utilize screen technology to bring boring products to life. Last year, we did a demo. We set up kind of a fake kitchen. We were selling different stuff, and I had this little roll-a-mat thing that was just kind of sitting on the table. And it's a nice little thing, a nice little Frankie, product that rolls out. You can put hot stuff on it so it doesn't ruin the counter. Cut different things so it can drain through. And when it's rolled up, you don't know what it is. And we set up a demo, and there's a really cool video. So we had a screen above, we had the product there, and description, and this video was playing, and just this beautiful video of just how to use this product. And I had at least 6 people ask me if they could buy it. It was a demo, right? But I thought about it. I was like, wow, this is interesting. The boring product just sitting on a shelf literally just got a second life. I'm like, wow, it's really just kind of an interesting use case of just something super boring, bring it to life. I was at Penn Station and like KFC, Pizza Hut, and there's like 60 different signs. They're all cluttered. It's so hard to read. C64, 8:15. You know, what could they do with a sign and a screen to simplify that? You see a lot of brands kind of exploring with screens. Think about screens as a landscape, a piece of art. You know, what's the experience that you want to create for that customer? I think screens is really cool, especially as the technology gets a little bit cheaper, a lot more cost effective. And don't hand me off to different walled systems that don't speak to each other. You know, they're kind of pretty self-explanatory. Those ones are pretty frustrating. And then let's talk about the last one here, the post-purchase phase, the most important one actually. You've done all the hard work. You've gotten the purchase, or at least hope to maintain that purchase. So let's talk about some friction along the way. Slow reimbursements, order tracking, hard to print the return label. That's me all day long. Does anybody have a printer anymore? I mean, I feel like those are it's just a friction point that I don't want to maintain here. And then as we think about what are some different tips that we can think about delivering, we need to really obsess over the customer and the experience that they have with you. So yes, we've gone through what's the next step. This next step for this customer is so important. What is that experience? Oh, we're going to send a follow-up email. Is that the best that we can do? We're going to send them a retargeting ad. Is that the best we can do? Really obsess over that. And take an abstract view and look at that. Make returning the product just as easy as buying it. You know, I think the opt-outs and the returning process goes through these separate systems, and the UX and the experience is totally different. You can feel it. Got to make that return experience crazy easy. We spend so much on just the initial portion. I think the return portion just gets no attention and just needs to be easier. You're about to lose a customer. At least you can give them a better experience and better UX design for it. And obsess over all the numbers and the friction points along the way. That's why I'm talking to you a lot about the friction points, along with the customer journey blueprint that you could be utilizing, because the friction points are something that we really need to talk about and surface them as you go through. So let's talk about some key takeaways. So let's start with the customer. Number one, obsess over every detail of your customer everywhere, right? Look for information from all different areas. Sure, we have all of our go-to areas that we can get our information from, but shop floor, frontline, the maintenance people, ask open-ended questions to customers, go to the shop floor. I think there's just so much more that we can do on the learning process and really humanize it, really. Break it down to a human-to-human connection and really focusing on the customer. Obsess over them, right? I obsess over you guys. You guys are my customer. I've been stalking you for 2 weeks now, right? So we've been obsessing over you. And also the context. The context is so important. I would say that this is probably the most important piece. Is personalization's great, but understanding the context of the customer and the environment is even more important than anything. Understanding the in-between moments, and Satya kind of talked about understanding understanding the customer and having an empathetic view, and really understanding the context and understanding the next things that they're asking for without them asking you. I think that's really innovation. That's really pushing things. So I think his view on empathy is so important here. And there's a book that Brandon Brown writes that goes all about this, and it's called Rising Strong. But empathy is really where I think the core of innovation is, and focusing on the context of the customer is ultra important. And then last but not least is the experience. Don't be everywhere. Don't be everywhere. I know we went through a lot of different touch points, and the description said 86, and at about 90 different touch points. The point is not to be everywhere. You don't have to be everywhere. At each stage, what are the top touch points that we need to deliver 150% at each stage? Let's go through those. So we have all those different examples that we showcased before. The point is not to be everywhere. The point is to be at those most critical moments. So don't be everywhere. Be where it matters, when it matters, right? Now we can start talking about technology, right? We started with the customer, the experience, the friction, everything. Now we can talk about technology. This session was not to talk about technology. This session was to talk about the customer experience, the obsessive commerce experiences that we're trying to deliver to them, the journey that we want to deliver along the way. Now we can talk about technology. Hopefully you guys have heard enough about technology at this conference, and you've gotten all these major buckets here. Thank you for your investment with Adobe. We really appreciate it. And as I end, is good enough good enough, right? Is good enough good enough? Can we do better? I think that we can deliver great experiences, and I don't think that this is Amazon's game. I don't think this is Google's game. I think this is your experiences to win. So I want my customers to win out in the market and deliver great experiences. Thank you.